Hello and welcome to Angry Army Weekly, the only gaming news show that would be happy to redefine the word week to pretend that I haven't missed any deadlines. Whoops. Sony held its annual conference this past weekend, PlayStation Experience 2016, and the main event, the Keynote, held a lot of news for gamers. Let's just get going as fast as we can to get through that, huh? A standalone edition is coming to Uncharted 4, titling itself The Lost Legacy, and this will focus on Chloe Frazer and Nadine Ross. Let It Die was released for free on PS4 from the studio Suda51. Destiny's December update is bringing back not only Sparrow Racing, but the Icebreaker as well for their winter holiday special thing. The Resident Evil demo is getting another content update. Horizon Zero Dawn had another trailer, as well as Gran Turismo Sport, if that game ever actually happens. Windjammers, you know, that old Frisbee game that's like, I don't know, 2+ decades old now? Yeah, that's coming to PS4 and Vita, as well as East Origins, which is a 10-year-old game, which actually came out in the US here 4 years ago because Sony's localization team fucking sucks. That's also coming out on PS4 and Vita. Crash Bandicoot is getting a trilogy remaster named Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy, which is a stupid fucking name. And Wipeout is also getting a remastered collection on top of Parappa the Rapper, Loco Roco, and Patapon. All coming to the system because why the fuck would we waste our time making new entries in these franchises when we can just release the old ones and everyone will be just as happy. And you know, you don't have to worry about fucking up a sequel. Oh yeah, Lorecraft Go! You know, that mobile game for these things? The mobile game? That's coming to PS4 for some fuck-off reason. We already talked about the absolute bullshit that is Akuma being a DLC character, so we'll skip over that. Whoops. In sequels, Ace Combat is back with Ace Combat 7, Knack with Knack 2, Major League Who Gives a Shit the Shilling 17, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, as well as Ni no Kuni 2. Oh yeah, The Last of Us Part 2, there's more of us than I thought. That's also coming out, that was just announced, so look forward to that. We're also getting Absolver, Nier Automata, Starblood Arena, Dreadnought, which is already out on PC, cough, and Nex Machina sometime... someday. Oh yeah, Yakuza 6 just came out. In Japan. Yeah, it's not coming here to the West until like 2018-ish? Which... if Sony knows how to do one thing, that thing is splitting their region so fucking drastically. Plus there's Yakuza Kiwami, which is essentially a remaster, rebuild, whatever, of the original Yakuza, which has also been out in Japan for some time, and that's coming sometime. Same with Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony. Again, sometime. Hey Sony. You. I know it's not all on Sony, but they encourage this bullshit. Just look at how terribly their network is set up and how divided by regions it is. This is why patches take so fucking long for games, is because they have to test it for EU and NA and all this other shit. Stop splitting your fucking regions, Sony. But it's hard for a company with about an $18 billion net worth to actually do something right and improve things. Poor Sony. Sony also showed off some of The Last Bird Dog, The Last Guardian. Sorry, old habits die hard. And it's out now, and it runs like shit. Players with the base PS4 have reported frames dipping below 10 frames a second, which is unacceptable on the PS4 hardware, especially for a PS3 game. Don't get it confused, this is a PS3 game. It just took way too fucking long to come out. And yes, it runs better on the Big Mac, but you shouldn't have to get the Big Mac in order to get an acceptable experience. If you dip below 10 frames in any case, you have failed as a developer. I don't care how good the game itself is, the game is a failure. It's a damn shame too, because Team Ico was 2 for 2, and then this 11-year fucking split, and we get this shit onto our laps. Well, Team Ico, I guess we'll see you in another 15 years. Don't fuck up next time. Oh, and by the way, Geoff Keighly had his yearly show this past week, the Game Advertisements 2016. And you're not getting off that easy, Jeff. Back in November this year, you know, the month before this one, Geoff Keighly spoke with Polygon about how his show will be different from last year. And no, he didn't mention the Schick Hydrobot, because I'm sure he just didn't want to spoil that for us and, you know, let us experience that unique character in person. No, This stream of bullshit is what I'd like to highlight. I have thought about the story of No Man's Sky a lot. Did we create this black hole of hype that developers couldn't pull themselves out of? Some of that was authored by me. There's a good moral of that story, and it's part of what I'm trying to address this year, to have developers be more transparent about the state of their game. We're going to have more diving deeper into games and gameplay. We're going to get deeper looks at premieres, and they'll run for 4 or 5 minutes. I think people will be surprised at the depth of some of the game content we will show this year. Sure, you had a bunch of exclusive reveals, and sure, some of them I'm pretty excited about. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition with Duke Nukem. And sure, we actually got some fucking gameplay from Mass Effect Andromeda, but you're full of shit, Geoff. The only gameplay that was shown was Mass Effect Andromeda and maybe Prey. The Prey stuff was kind of weird. That could have been gameplay and that could have been just doctored with a HUD afterwards. It's kind of hard to tell that gameplay stuff was weird. I mean, I'm willing to count that, and even if I do count that, that's 2 titles that showed gameplay. 2! You're a liar. On top of that, he stuffed the show with so much bullshit that even if Christ himself came down and won Developer of the Year, he'd get about 5 seconds of screen time in between generic Telltale title number 72 and generic Telltale title number 73. And then they would move the fuck on from there. If you can't tell, the Game Awards 2016, complete shit show. Worst I've ever seen it. But hey, Hideo Kojima actually got to show up this year, so there's that. And on top of that, we got a nice little Twitter rant from Mr. Del Toro himself about hashtag fuck Konami. And no, I'm not bleeping that because hashtag fuck Konami. And no, I'm not going into depth on that Death Stranding trailer because as really fucking cool as it was to see Del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen and just, it looked really cool, but it was more CGI bullshit. Can we come together as a community and just not talk about games that haven't shown gameplay yet? Please? Like, sure, it'd be like, hey, this was announced and it had a cool little trailer and that's the end of it. No, hey, this looks really fucking cool. No, it doesn't because you haven't seen it yet. I understand this is Hideo Kojima, but the case still stands. There has been no gameplay. Let's not fucking talk about it until we see gameplay. And also, side note, yes, I understand this is pretty late, and there are more news topics that I'm not covering that have happened since stuff, and that'll be covered next week on Wednesday when we get back to our regular scheduled time. But until then, moving on to the local news. After some issues in the studio, we're live with Jayson number 7. How are you doing, Jayson number 7? Well, that was awkward. Anyways, if you'd like more news and less of my shitty opinions, another AJSA Commander Legolas Katarn does a weekly roundup of not only just news, but thought pieces and trailers, and many other things that can be found in the gaming sphere. And you can find the link to that in the description below. And if there's some news you'd like me to share, you can get a hold of me on my Twitter, @Jaysons Rage. And until next time, you all stay sexy out there.